So how bad is this going to annoy me? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with American Dad, the best of Principal Lewis. So, if you didn't know, for anyone who might not have known, there are three animated series that I consider kind of like the very bottom of the barrel when it comes to adult animation. And I'm talking specifically about those shows that have gained some level of popularity. I'm not talking about like the Mr. Pickles of the world where it's like nobody likes it. It's really hated on and people just watch it out of morbid curiosity. I'm talking things that are actually popular, that actually have a notable fan base. These are the three adult animated programs that I consider to be the worst, and they're all made by the same people. It's basically the same bullshit. It's stupid, vulgar, insulting humor that is just offensive for the sake of being offensive. And they are Family Guy, The Cleveland Show, and American Dad. Now, I believe they're all technically part of the same universe. Obviously, Family Guy and Cleveland Show are, but I believe American Dad is like part of the same universe. They've had crossovers and stuff. But all of these shows are like bottom of the barrel. They're not funny. They're just insanely offensive. They're extremely like poorly written in terms of like none of the characters are written well, believable, or likable. The situations are so stupid that it's just you can't buy into it. You can't even like suspend your disbelief to buy into it. That's how bad they are. And the humor is non-existent. They rely on these cutaway gags that just aren't funny by nature. They're not funny. There's no humor. There's no joke. It's just a cutaway to something that they're talking about. They say something, it cuts away to that something, and that's it. There's no actual joke being made. But for some reason, these shows, especially Family Guy and American Dad, Cleveland Show not as much, but these shows have notable audiences to the point where Family Guy has somehow escaped cancellation multiple times, and American Dad just somehow keeps existing. And I don't get it. And I want to make it clear like, comedy and everything is subjective. If you like these shows, all the power to you. I'm not trying to change your opinion, I'm just sharing mine. And my opinion is that these are some of the worst animated programs ever put on television. And I really hate them. Yet, for some reason, maybe it's because of that, Venom, you have decided to suggest this as a donation reward. I don't know like what the motivation was here. If you did it because I've mentioned before I don't like these shows, or if you did it just because you think this stuff is funny. I don't know. I don't know what your motivation for requesting this was. But yeah, it's probably just gonna be me sitting here and just like either being extremely bored and uncaring, or just like, face palming and shit the entire time. So I apologize if this reaction doesn't end up being super entertaining. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe you'll be entertained by how unentertained I am. And maybe if there's anything that like warrants like notable discussion regarding some of the jokes they make, maybe I'll discuss that. We'll see. I'll try my best, but Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Um, so let's just let's just do this, if nothing else, to get it out of the way and see what the best of Principal Lewis apparently is. Let's go. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday, as well as Let's Plays. We currently alternate between Horizon Forbidden West and Baldur's Gate 3 every day, as well as have Nier Automata on Saturdays. And don't forget to follow the link in the description below to today's reaction. I do redirect all reactions just due to copyright. And on top of that, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content like this. Thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get to today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Racism, anti-Semitism, sexism, pedophilia, and I could go on, but these are things that I don't find funny. These are I don't see how people can find this funny. I don't get it. And the thing is, these shows, Family Guy, this, Cleveland Show, they rely on that kind of humor. That's not humor. It's not, there's no comedy to it. It's not funny. It's not charming. It's not witty. There's no humor to it. It's just offensive. For the sake of being offensive. And the entire argument of, oh, it's offensive to everyone, so it's okay, is not a valid argument. It will never be a valid argument. Saying it's offensive to everyone just means it's still offensive. It doesn't stop, that doesn't suddenly make it okay. That's not how this works. Nothing about this was funny. And that's also the entire point you have to realize. Like, this is a comedy series. It is, the intent is that these are supposed to be jokes. That this is supposed to be funny and entertaining, and it's failing at that. It's sad how just terrible it is. And something I didn't even mention in the pre-thoughts, by the way, that it's just like really came to my attention through watching this is, my God, the voice acting in these shows suck as well. It's like, it's not the worst voice acting I've heard or anything like that, but it's like every single character speaks in exactly the same way. Like, they may have different voice actors, but the actual way they, like, say words, I don't know how else to explain it. I guess the way they enunciate, the way they specifically pronounce words, the way they specifically, like, the manner of their speech. I'm drawing a blank on, like, specific, like, phrasing on how to say that, but you know what I mean. I know that doesn't make me look great when I can't think of the phrasing, but that's just because, you know, I have a hard time with shit like that. Because, you know, I have mental illnesses, and very much includes my memory for certain words and phrases and all, and that's been made very clear through these reactions. It's like, it's not a Princess of Gay reaction without me stuttering or forgetting words or just not knowing what to say. But it's like that's different, mind you, than characters like all speaking with the same enunciation, the same manner of speech and everything. It's like I'm sure that's like the direction that it's going under, the vocal direction, but it's like that's bad vocal direction. Um, Watch a show like Has Been Hotel. Watch a show like Owl House. Um, or if you want a series that's more adult oriented, hell, fucking Vox Machina. I don't know why that's what came to mind first, but go with that. The characters don't speak in the same way. Let's use Vox Machina since it's also an adult animation. Scanlan and let's say Vax. Scanlan and Vax, right? Obviously, two very different characters, and they sound nothing alike in their manner of speech. The way they enunciate words, the way they pronounce words, the way they talk are very different. And then you compare it to here, like let's say Principal Lewis and Stan. The way they talk is exactly the same. The way they enunciate words, exactly the same. That's not good voice acting, and that's not good voice direction. It's like that just doesn't work. And it's the same thing with Family Guy, Cleveland Show. It's like these shows don't know how to make characters sound any different. I'm not talking about just the general sound of their voices because the voice actors sound different. I'm talking like the way they say things. It's ridiculous to me. And that's honestly the least of the problems with shows like this. The reason why most of the time I was just sitting there with like my fist on my cheek and everything is because I couldn't think of anything to even say. It's like I pointed out like, oh, that's pedophilia. Oh, that's anti-Semitism and stuff like that. But that's all I could really say about it. There's just pointing out the obvious. Because there's nothing to actually commentate on. There's nothing to actually like discuss. It's just terrible. And like I've heard people try to make arguments for these kinds of shows saying, "Oh, but the characters are supposed to be terrible. That's the point." It's like that doesn't make it better. Acknowledging the problem does not make it better. And here's the thing. If every single character is like that, you can't use the excuse of, oh, the character's supposed to be terrible. Let's make another comparison, shall we? Let's go with an anime comparison this time. Let's go with Death Note. I know, really random seeming comparison, but hear me out. So, the main character of Death Note is actually the villain. You follow the villain instead of the hero, right? That's pretty well known. Light Yagami is the villain of Death Note. He is the bad guy. And he is your main perspective. You are following him. He's terrible. He's atrocious. He's evil beyond reason. But that doesn't follow through with every character. Other characters that you follow include L, who is, a good guy. Who is very different from Light, outside of the fact that they're both extremely smart. He is very, very good. And he has maybe some issues here and there, but just in generally speaking. You also have the members of the Kira task force. And it's like, this is going to surprise some people, because I'm saying this about cops, but they are good. They are absolutely like morally, ethically good characters. Hell, these are people who are willing to lay down their badges for actual justice. I'd say that those are good cops. People who are understanding that the police force can be fucking terrible and are willing to basically say fuck it to the police to do what's right. Mind you, Japanese police very different from American police, but that's not the point. The point is, Light is not the only bad person in the anime, but he's the only one that you mainly follow. Because even characters like Misa, she's more neutral. She does some bad things. She's definitely a character who has done some bad things, but she's also, you know, doing so out of an admiration for someone who saved her life. She has trauma and pain and just an unhealthy obsession with this person who saved her life. And so that's why she does what she does. It doesn't make her right, but it's better than Light. Rhyme unintentional there. It's better than Light's motivations, which is basically just a god complex. The point is, all of these characters are so distinctly different. They're different in the way they talk, the way they act, the things they say, how they say them. You could not mistake one of these characters for the other. They're not all terrible people, unlike in a show like Family Guy or American Dad, where everyone just fucking sucks. There's no likable characters. And so using the excuse that the character is supposed to be terrible is not a valid excuse. It's not a valid, reasonable excuse when every character is terrible. And again, the kinds of quote-unquote jokes they're making are just offensive. They're not funny. Like, Stan's son, I don't know his fucking name. His friend group is just a literal set of offensive stereotypes. It's so fucking terrible. And again, just the constant like pedophilia jokes, it's like, that's not funny. It's not funny to be edgy. It's not funny to be like, oh, I'm going to make vile, disgusting, gross, horrible jokes about teenage girls working at a strip club. That's not funny. Nothing about that is funny. That's horrific. Yet this is the kind of humor to expect with a series like this. It's not humor. There's no joke being made. They're just being offensive and saying the most offensive things because they think that's what adult humor is. It's not. This is why I'm very wary of adult animation as it is, and why I don't tend to watch a lot of it. It's honestly rare when I watch adult animation because the stuff that's marketed to kids ends up actually being more mature. And actually, you know, having better writing and, you know, character work, voice acting, everything. It's sad when My Little Fucking Pony is more mature than this garbage. It's sad when they know how to handle adult themes better than this shit. That's right, My Little Fucking Pony, a series marketed at 10-year-old girls, handles adult themes and messages better than a fucking adult series. That's insane. That's stupid. And I'm not hating on My Little Pony, by the way. I'm just saying, I'm making a point. I mean, I wouldn't be hating on My Little Pony considering I'm a fan of My Little Pony. At least of Gens 4 and 5, mind you, but... Point is, this was just trash. And not even good trash. Sometimes you can watch something that's so shitty, it's actually kind of fun to watch. This isn't that. I'm glad that there are good adult animated series out there. Stuff like Has-Been Hotel / Hell of a Boss. Stuff like Futurama, even. Futurama can get pretty raunchy and everything, but it at least handles things with, care. It at least tries. It at least is funny and well written and well voice acted. Futurama is a good adult series. It's not perfect, it has its issues, but it's good. Has-Been Hotel, Hell of a Boss, great adult series. Vox Machina, as many issues as I did have with that, and the reason why I stopped watching, is much better than this shit. Again, if you like this, that's fine. You're entitled to like it. I'm not going to tell you otherwise. But I am also entitled to hate it. And I'm entitled to share that hate. I'm entitled just as much as anyone is to like it. And I'm sorry, but I despise this show. It's one of my most hated shows ever. Along with Family Guy. They're basically tied. Because it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing, just with different characters. I don't get it. I don't get how this has an audience. But again, it's all subjective, so whatever. I'm going to leave this here because I don't really have anything else to say. I feel like I got my thoughts out pretty succinctly. I think I explained myself well enough. If you disagree, you're entitled to that. But, yeah. I think I'm just going to end this here and move on to something, better. So, thank you all so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts below. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.